Hey there, it's Shauna. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for August 27th. This week I've titled Gathering Potential because this week it feels like we're gathering all of these different options and resources and potential and then deciding on where it is that we want to go in the weeks ahead. Mars is stationing direct this week, but it's going to be moving direct very slowly. So it's not like we're charging forward. It's still this feeling of gathering this week. So as always, I am excited to share the astrology of the week with you. And then I have 3 tips for you to make the most out of this week. So first things first, we start off Monday with Mars stationing direct. And so the planet Mars is about physical action, initiation, meeting challenges. It's really about the physical actions that we take. It's also related to your physical vitality as well. And so Mars stationed retrograde, so it appeared to be moving backwards through the zodiac June 26th this year. So it's been retrograde for a few months or so. And it will station direct Monday at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And so this is really important because a few different things. Mars moves very slowly. So even though it's stationing direct, meaning it's going to stop the appearance of moving backward and it's going to pause for a moment at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and then it's going to appear to move forward in the zodiac again. But this is also important because it's at the very last degree of Capricorn. And so, or the very last little bit of Capricorn. And so then it will immediately move into Aquarius. So this means that it's shifting signs. If you use whole sign houses, that means it's shifting into a whole new house and a whole new area of your life. So even though Mars is direct, it's going to be in Capricorn still until early September. So September 10th is when Mars will actually move into the sign of Aquarius again, and it'll square Uranus. So I feel like there's this sense maybe this week of feeling like you're not as stuck or limited physically, whether it's your physical vitality or being able to take action. It may feel like there's a sense of not being held back as much, but not necessarily that you're going to be moving forward full speed ahead. I think this again is more about like really gathering that potential and being clear on where it is that you want to place your physical activity, what it is that you want to do, and to make plans for that to suss out what that's going to look like. And then in September is when it feels like there's going to be this quick change initiation. The other aspect that's happening this week is Mercury will square Jupiter. So Mercury is about thought process, mind, communication. It's about our ability to intellectually think about things. And so this is the third square to Jupiter. Mercury, our mind, is square Jupiter, which is about expansion and growth. It's about big ideas, really is what this aspect is about. And it could also be about looking at things differently too. So this is the third time that Mercury has squared Jupiter during this past month or so because Mercury was retrograde. So now Mercury is direct and this will be the last square that it will make. So you may find yourself reevaluating maybe some big ideas or some big plans that you had. Maybe there was something that you took on or that you thought about that became a lot more than you thought it would be, or maybe you want something to be a lot more. Regardless, this is definitely about like having a big vision and figuring out how to make sense of that. What to do with these big ideas, what to do with even a situation that feels like it's taking a lot of your mental energy. How do you cope with that? The last thing that's happening this week is the last quarter moon in the sign of Gemini. And so this is happening Sunday, late Sunday evening, 7:37 p.m. Pacific time, and it's exact at 10 degrees of Gemini. So the last quarter point of the lunar cycle is really this stage of getting closure. It's about wrapping things up and preparing for the following lunar cycle, and we'll have our new moon next week. We'll have a new moon in, I think it's in Libra. Is that right? Let me look. I'm like 99. No, it's in Virgo. I almost forgot Virgo new moon. So the last quarter moon this week is really about trimming things down, delegating, and figuring out where you want to recommit yourself to something and where you want to stop doing something, or where you want to tie up loose ends. Especially so through the middle of the week, because we're going to have the moon in the sign of Aries leading up to this point of like, okay, I'm doing all of these things, and then what is it that I don't want to do anymore? Or because it's in Gemini, what is it that I don't want to think about anymore? What do I want to get off my plate mentally and emotionally? So something for you to think about. The tips that I have for you this week are, number one, to chill this week. So this week, Mars is stationing direct. We have the square between Mercury and Jupiter. A square is kind of a tense aspect. And then the last quarter moon, sometimes it can kind of feel like you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? It can kind of feel like this point of crisis, like an internal conflict. So I would say totally chill this week. You don't have to have it all figured out. If it feels like there's this sense of conflict, you have time to work things out. And I get the sense that especially when Mars moves into the sign of Aquarius, like I said, that things will work themselves out organically. So don't feel like you have to have everything all figured out. Chill this week. Tip number two is to use your critical thinking. So this is really tapping into the Mercury piece of Mercury square Jupiter. I want you to focus on one thing at a time and to use like very basic critical thinking. Okay, what's important, what's not, and weighing and valuing. And that is going to help you prioritize this week as well, to help you prioritize and tap into that, the last quarter moon in Gemini. And then tip number three, very similar, find a focus. Even if you decide just to focus on one thing this week, something that you want to finish, especially something that you want to wrap up, or you want to get to a certain stopping point on something, or you want to make progress, pick one thing. And I say that because the last quarter moon in the sign of Gemini, is like a social butterfly and likes to move around, but it's like focus for a specific period of time and then move on, but always like focusing first. So that's tip number three, to find a focus. And then I will pull a tarot card for us. So as I'm shuffling these, you can focus on your breathing. You can think about a particular topic that is on your heart, on your mind, on your plate, or you can just let it be an open general. The general symbol of the energy this week. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I pulled the Two of Swords, and I love this card, even though it's odd that, you know, the person is blindfolded. I think it's such a beautiful card. And so the Two of Swords is about not wanting to make decisions or feeling like you need to make a decision. The other thing that strikes me about this too is that the little crescent moon in the corner here, and this is a waxing moon, which is interesting because it's different than the cycle that we're in right now. But this card to me, Swords, is about thinking. It's about the mind. It's about thought process. It's very much about critical thinking. And here it's, and I pulled this reverse too. So what I would take that is, what decisions are you making? Where do you feel like you're blindfolded, or where do you feel like the blindfold is being taken off? And what to do with that? You know, I think that only you know what's best for you. I do think that the last quarter on Sunday in the sign of Gemini, it might feel like you have two different options. And so One thing that I'll say too is I find that sometimes when it feels like there's two different options and neither one is a sure yes, sometimes it's better to let that be and then a third option emerges. And of course that's not always the case, but that's just what I'm feeling with this card as well, because she's blindfolded and she's not, like, it's not the Two of Pentacles where you're balancing. It's like she's holding both of these energies at the same time. So that's what I have to say about that. I am wishing you an amazing week. Thank you for watching. If you like this this forecast, share it with someone who you think would appreciate it as well. And also, if you are interested in my Astrology for Empaths course that's coming up in September, I'll have information on my website about that soon. So you can email me if you have questions, or you can just stay tuned. I'll give you more info as soon as I have it. And wishing you a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.